The morning sun cast a golden hue over the quiet suburban neighborhood as I sipped my coffee on the back porch, staring at nothing in particular. For years, this had been my routine. Wake up early, drink my coffee in silence, and mentally prepare for another long day at work. But today felt different. There was a gnawing feeling in my gut, a sensation I had been trying to ignore for months. My name is Daniel Carter, a 38-year-old IT consultant. My job required me to travel frequently, spending weeks, sometimes months, away from home, working with different clients across the country. I loved what I did, but it came at a cost. My marriage had started to feel off. Emma, my wife of 10 years, worked in corporate marketing. She was ambitious, smart, and always dressed to impress. When we first met, she was the kind of woman who lit up any room she walked into, full of life and passion. But lately, she had become distant. Her once warm kisses were now cold pecks on the cheek. Her late nights at the office had become more frequent, and when I was home, she barely noticed me. I had chalked it up to stress. After all, marketing was cutthroat, and she often vented about deadlines and demanding bosses. But then the small things started to add up. The way she guarded her phone like a secret vault, the hushed tones when she took calls in another room, the sudden enthusiasm for work outings that she never used to care about. I told myself I was imagining things, but deep down, I knew something was wrong. One evening, about 3 months ago, I had returned from a business trip earlier than expected. I wanted to surprise Emma, take her out to dinner, maybe rekindle what felt like a fading flame. But when I walked into our house, she wasn't there. Her usual routine was to come home by 6:30 p.m., maybe 7 if traffic was bad. That night, it was past 9. I texted her. No response. At 9:45, she finally called. "Hey babe, sorry, I had a last-minute meeting with the team. We're working on a big campaign, and I lost track of time." Something in her voice didn't sit right with me. "No worries," I said, keeping my tone neutral. "Where are you now?" "Just leaving the office. I'll be home soon." I could hear the background noise, voices, laughter, the distinct clinking of glasses. It didn't sound like an office. That was the night the doubt took root in my mind. A week later, while Emma was in the shower, I did something I never thought I'd do. I checked her phone. Her work group chat was normal, deadlines, presentations, office gossip. But there was another chat, a private one, with a name I didn't recognize. Ryan W. The messages were vague, but there was an undeniable flirtation in them. "A goodnight face-blowing a kiss here. I can't wait for tomorrow there." My heart pounded. I wanted to believe it was innocent, but my gut told me otherwise. Instead of confronting her, I decided to watch. Over the next few weeks, I noticed more things. Emma had a sudden interest in perfume she had never worn before. She started going to the gym at 10 p.m. She would come home from work smelling like cologne that wasn't mine. I knew I needed more proof before making accusations. One Friday evening, I told Emma I was flying out for a weekend conference. In reality, I booked a hotel in town and waited. I had placed a small GPS tracker in her car, a desperate move, but I needed the truth. At 7:15 p.m., the tracker showed her leaving work. But she didn't head home. Instead, she drove to the Cambridge Hotel, a well-known upscale hotel in the city. I felt my heart shatter. I drove there, parking a block away, my hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly that my knuckles turned white. I saw her step out of her car, laughing, her hand playfully brushing against a man's chest as they walked inside together. It was her boss, Ryan Walters, the same Ryan from her messages. I sat in the car for over an hour, my mind a whirlwind of rage, heartbreak, and disbelief. The woman I had loved for over a decade was inside a hotel room with another man. When she finally left, just before midnight, she didn't look guilty. She looked satisfied. I didn't confront her that night. Instead, I drove home and sat in the darkness of our living room, staring at nothing. My wife had betrayed me, and I knew I couldn't just walk away. I needed revenge. I spent the weekend in a haze of anger and cold calculation. There was no denying the truth anymore. Emma was cheating on me with her boss. The woman I had built my life with had thrown it away for some office fling. But I wasn't going to be another man who walked away in silence, humiliated. I had always believed in consequences. If Emma thought she could betray me and go on living her life as if nothing had happened, she was dead wrong. I was going to destroy her carefully crafted world. On Monday morning, I called in sick to work. I had no intention of letting this drag on any longer than necessary. I needed solid proof, something undeniable, something that would ruin her professional and personal life the way she had ruined mine. I started with her phone. Over the past few months, I had noticed that she always deleted her messages, but I knew enough about technology to recover them. I backed up her phone to a separate drive and used recovery software to retrieve deleted conversations. What I found made my blood boil. Explicit messages, plans to meet up, even pictures. There was no ambiguity. Emma and Ryan weren't just having an emotional affair. They had been sleeping together for months. I saved everything. Screenshots, call logs, hotel reservations, even a few audio recordings from the times I had bugged our house with a small voice recorder. This wasn't just about confronting Emma anymore. This was about exposing her. Emma worked at Kingsley and Moore Marketing, one of the top agencies in the city. Her position as a senior marketing strategist had always been a source of pride for her. She had worked her way up, gained the respect of her colleagues, and was even in line for a promotion. Ryan Walters, the man she was cheating with, was the regional director. Married, 2 kids, well-liked by the executives. If this affair came to light, it wouldn't just hurt Emma. It would destroy Ryan's career, his family, and his reputation. I wanted that. I wanted them both to lose everything. The first thing I did was reach out to Natalie, one of Emma's coworkers. Natalie and I had met at a company event once, and I remembered how she had subtly hinted that Ryan had a reputation for getting too close to female employees. I messaged her. Hey, Natalie. I know this is random, but I need to ask you something about Emma and Ryan. Have you ever noticed anything inappropriate between them? She replied almost instantly. Oh my God. Are you serious? I've had my suspicions, but I never thought you'd ask me. Why? Did you find something? I told her that I had evidence, but needed her help to confirm a few things. She didn't hesitate. Honestly, a lot of people in the office talk about them, but no one has proof. If you have something concrete, well, HR would have no choice but to act. That was all I needed to hear. I sent her a handful of screenshots, just enough to make her believe me, but not enough to reveal my full hand. I wanted this to spread like wildfire through the office before I made my final move. The next day, I created a fake email account and sent an anonymous message to Kingsley and Moore's HR department, attaching every piece of incriminating evidence. Subject, urgent complaint, inappropriate conduct in the workplace. Asterisk, to whom it may concern. I am bringing this to your attention because it directly violates the company's code of ethics. Attached, you will find undeniable proof of an ongoing affair between Regional Director Ryan Walters and Senior Strategist Emma Carter. Their actions have compromised workplace integrity, favoritism in promotions, and overall company reputation. This matter requires immediate investigation. Sincerely, a concerned employee asterisk. Then, I waited. By noon, the office was buzzing. Natalie texted me. Holy shit. HR just sent out a memo about an ongoing investigation into misconduct. People are freaking out. Emma looks like she's about to pass out. I could picture it. Emma sitting at her desk, her world crumbling as whispers spread through the office. I wanted her to feel the weight of what she had done. Then came the second text. Ryan just got called into a meeting with HR. Emma is next. I smiled. Around 3 p.m., Emma called me. I let it ring. Then another call. And another. Finally, I picked up. Daniel. She gasped, her voice shaking. I don't know what's happening. Someone sent HR things. About me and Ryan. They're saying it's workplace misconduct. But it's a lie. I swear. I let the silence stretch, savoring her panic. A lie. I said finally. Emma, should I send you the screenshots I have? The texts? The hotel reservations? She let out a choked sob. How did you? I've known for months, Emma. I was just waiting for the right moment. Her breath hitched. You did this? Of course I did. My voice was cold. Did you really think you could cheat on me in your own workplace and get away with it? She started crying, begging me to listen, but I was done. Save your tears for HR, Emma. I'm sure they'd love to hear how you abused your position for a workplace affair. And then I hung up. That evening, Natalie gave me the final update. Ryan is being put on immediate leave while the investigation is ongoing. His wife apparently found out and is threatening to file for divorce. Perfect. Emma wasn't officially fired yet, but the damage was done. Her reputation was destroyed. I wasn't finished, though. I had one last move to make. Emma didn't come home that night. I wasn't surprised. After our phone call, she must have realized that everything she had built, the career, the respect of her colleagues, her carefully maintained image, was collapsing. And the best part? There was nothing she could do to stop it. I sat in our living room, sipping a glass of whiskey, waiting for the inevitable. At around 2 a.m., my front door finally creaked open. Emma walked in, her face a wreck of smudged mascara and swollen eyes. She looked at me like a woman standing on the edge of a cliff, desperate for something, anything, to hold on to. Daniel. Her voice cracked. Please, we need to talk. I leaned back in my chair, swirling the whiskey in my glass. Talk? Funny, I seem to recall asking you for the truth months ago. You lied to my face every single time. She let out a shaky breath, stepping closer. I made a mistake. Her voice was barely above a whisper. But it wasn't serious. It didn't mean anything. I laughed, actually laughed. Didn't mean anything? Emma, you were screwing your boss in hotel rooms. You sent him messages telling him you couldn't wait to feel his hands on you. That doesn't sound like nothing to me. She paled. I was stupid. I was lonely. You were always gone, traveling for work. And Ryan, he was there. He paid attention to me. But I swear, it's over. It meant nothing compared to what we have. What we have? I scoffed, standing up. Emma, what we had died the moment you chose to betray me. You don't get to rewrite the past just because you got caught. She grabbed my arm, panic filling her eyes. Daniel, please. I love you. I don't want to lose you. We can fix this. I yanked my arm away. You already lost me, Emma. She started sobbing, but I had no sympathy left for her. Just as I was about to walk away, she said something that almost made me pity her. I lost my job today. I turned back to her, raising an eyebrow. Oh? I thought HR was still investigating. She wiped her face, sniffling. They were. But Ryan's wife sent an email to the company's board. She found out everything. The executives decided it was best to part ways with both of us to protect the company's reputation. I smirked. Checkmate. So let me get this straight, I said, savoring every word. You destroyed our marriage for a man who just lost his career, his family, and now you've lost everything too? She nodded, her shoulders trembling. I have nothing left, Daniel. For a brief moment, I considered feeling bad for her. Then I remembered the nights I had spent alone, wondering why my wife had become a stranger. The humiliation, the betrayal, the gut-wrenching pain of seeing her with another man. That's not my problem, I said coldly. You made your bed, Emma. Now lie in it. And with that, I walked upstairs, leaving her sobbing on the floor. She had begged for forgiveness, but it was too late. Emma didn't sleep in our bedroom that night. When I woke up the next morning, I found her curled up on the couch, her face blotchy from crying. I felt nothing. No sympathy. No regret. No second thoughts. She had made her choices. Now, she had to deal with the consequences. I spent the morning packing a bag. I had no interest in staying under the same roof as Emma for a second longer. As I zipped up my suitcase, I heard her soft voice from the doorway. Are you leaving? I didn't look at her.
Yes.
Where are you going? Somewhere you're not. She flinched but didn't argue. Instead, she asked, Are you coming back? I turned to face her. Emma, this marriage is over. She let out a broken sob, covering her mouth with her hands. No, please, Daniel. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll do anything. I'll spend the rest of my life making it up to you. I shook my head. I don't want your apologies. I don't want your promises. I want you out of my life. She collapsed onto the bed, shaking. I lost my job. I lost everything, Daniel. I have nothing left. I stared at her, unblinking. You should have thought about that before you cheated. Then, I walked out the door. I wasted no time. By the end of the week, I had filed for divorce. Emma had no choice but to accept. She had no money, no job, and no one to turn to. The house? It was mine. The savings? Mostly mine. She had walked into this affair thinking she could have it all. Me, Ryan, her career, her reputation. She ended up with nothing. Emma wasn't the only one paying the price. A few weeks later, I heard through Natalie that Ryan's wife had left him and taken the kids. The company had made sure he would never work in a high-level position again. His once perfect life was in ruins. And Emma? She was unemployed, living in a tiny rental apartment, struggling to rebuild her life. She reached out a few times, desperate, clinging to the hope that I would take her back. I never responded. She had made her choices. Now, she was living with them. Months passed. By the time my divorce from Emma was finalized, I had moved into a new apartment across town. It wasn't a mansion, but it was mine. A fresh start, free from the weight of betrayal. I focused on rebuilding my life. I threw myself into work, took up hobbies I had long neglected, and even reconnected with old friends. For the first time in years, I wasn't looking over my shoulder, wondering what my wife was doing behind my back. I was free. One evening, as I was leaving the office, I got a message from Emma. Emma, Daniel, please. I just want to talk. Just once. I stared at my phone, debating whether to ignore it. Then, for reasons I can't quite explain, I replied. Me, where? She sent an address, a small coffee shop in a part of town she never would have stepped foot in before. When I walked in, I barely recognized her. Gone was the polished, high-powered executive. Emma looked tired. Her once perfect hair was dull, her designer wardrobe replaced with a simple sweater and jeans. She had always been the kind of woman who thrived on power, attention, admiration. Now, she was just lost. I sat down across from her. You wanted to talk, I said. She nodded, fiddling with the coffee cup in her hands. I don't know where to start, she admitted. I've tried so many times to reach you, but you never responded. There was nothing left to say, I told her. Her eyes welled up. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I ruined everything. She exhaled shakily. I miss you, Daniel. I miss us. I leaned back in my chair, studying her. You miss the life you had, I corrected. Not me. Tears slipped down her cheeks. I do miss you, and I regret everything. I wake up every day wishing I could undo what I did. I sighed. Emma, I don't hate you. I don't even think about you much anymore. That seemed to hurt her more than anything else. So, that's it, she whispered. You'll never give me another chance? I shook my head. No, Emma, there's no going back. She nodded slowly, swallowing back another wave of tears. I guess I deserved that. Yeah, I said. You did. I stood up, tossing a few bills onto the table for her coffee. Goodbye, Emma. She watched me walk away, knowing this time it was forever. As I stepped outside, a strange sense of peace settled over me. For so long, I had been consumed by betrayal, anger, and the need for justice. But now, I was done. Emma had lost everything. Her job, her reputation, and the life she had once cherished. She would spend the rest of her days regretting what she had done. But me? I had my freedom, and that was more than enough. Reason.